Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Roommate in Peril in the relationship subreddit. The post is titled, "My boyfriend tried to coax my roommate into having sex with him. Hey, I am in a rough place and I am really shaken by everything that has gone down. There is a lot to unpack, so please stick with me. I am a junior at a mid-sized college. My soon-to-be ex-boyfriend goes to a state school that is about a 2-hour drive from my college, so he visits semi-often. We met through mutual friends and have been dating for around 2 years now. He was my best friend and I loved our dynamic more than anything. I live with 3 other people. My best friend Lee and 2 girls who were assigned to our apartment by university housing. The other girls are Emily and Michelle, who are best friends. As the year went on, all 4 of us grew closer and we consider each other friends. This weekend, Emily and Lee went home, so it was just Michelle and me in the apartment. My boyfriend came over Friday after class, and we spent the rest of the day together. We attended my sorority social event, but left early since my boyfriend was a little tired. Michelle is in the army and is super fit and beautiful. She has a ton of tattoos and is overall a badass girl. Occasionally, she has hung out with me and my boyfriend in the living room. I noticed him looking her up and down a few times, but thought it was just a normal guy thing and brushed it off. Michelle went to bed early because she had to wake up for drill on Saturday. My boyfriend and I ended up going to bed after getting home when I received a text from one of the younger sisters in the sorority saying there was an emergency at her place and that I needed to come there immediately. I asked my boyfriend if he wanted to come help, but he said no and insisted that he wanted to stay back. I chalked it up to him being tired. I walked over to the girls' dorm to find one of them unresponsive from drinking too much at the social event. Her roommate was trying to make her vomit by shoving a finger down her throat. We called in resident advisor who said she would handle the situation. The RA drove my sister to urgent care, and I said I would meet her there after grabbing a coat and my car keys. When I returned to my apartment, I walked in on a scene that made my heart drop. My boyfriend was in his boxers, standing in the doorway of Michelle's room. I entered and saw her crying on the floor. I asked what was going on and learned from Michelle that my boyfriend had tried to enter her room while she was sleeping and attempted to coax her into having sex with him. While I was getting the details from Michelle, my boyfriend basically just stood there without saying anything. I obviously believed Michelle and told my boyfriend to grab his things and drive back to school. I asked Michelle if she needed me to do anything for her, but she just said that she needed to sleep for drill over the weekend. So I drove to urgent care to make sure my sister was alright and stayed until she was released in the morning. She is okay now, but will have to deal with the sorority council about her conduct at the social event. I have no idea how to support my roommate because I know she must be traumatized by this situation. I don't want her to hate me after all this. I am enraged at my boyfriend and heartbroken that he would do something like this. I just feel so sad and upset, and right now I have no hope. Update. Long story short, I left my apartment for an emergency concerning a younger sister in my sorority. After telling my ex that I would probably be a while before I got home, he decided to take his chance to try to coerce my roommate into having sex with him. His bright idea was to strip down to his boxers, enter her room, and attempt to get into her bed without any sort of consent. As a result, she freaked out, I kicked him out, and now I am updating you on what happened after that incident. Michelle did not come home Sunday night and stayed at a friend's place through Monday. She skipped classes for a mental health day, also because she needed sleep from a long and tedious drill. When she got back to the apartment, she already had a game plan in place from talking to an NCO at her unit. We talked and cried for a few hours, and most of the time we just sat there in silence, finally feeling the weight of the situation. For everyone asking if my ex was forceful in a physical way with her, he was not. The only time he touched her was when she started pushing him away. He tried to push her hands away from him since he thought she was going to hit him or something. We think he was shocked because she refused to sleep with him and thought his brilliant idea would go perfectly as planned. Michelle does not want to report him to the police, but she did want to report it to our university. She decided against going to law enforcement because our university can ensure some form of anonymity. Michelle is trying to attend officer candidate school when she graduates. Therefore, she did not want to deal with any backlash that might hurt her chances of being selected. We went to the Title IX office and they immediately saw us after we explained the situation. We talked to a coordinator, but she wanted to speak with Michelle alone for most of the time. After the meeting, we were assured that my ex would be banned from campus. She also said she would reach out to his school and make sure he faces some sort of consequence. According to the coordinator, if his school takes this seriously, he could get kicked out of his engineering fraternity and suspended for a semester. Michelle was completely fine with this. She just wants him out of our lives forever. Our relationship as roommates does not feel awkward. In fact, I feel closer to her. We made the decision not to renew our quad apartment for senior year. Michelle and Emily will be getting a double, and Lee and I will be getting one as well. As for my ex, I blocked him on everything and haven't reached out since I told him to leave the apartment. I am ready to start a new chapter. However, as a last-ditch effort to see him face consequences, I messaged his parents on Facebook and explained what he did and why I would not be attending Thanksgiving at their house. They have seen the message but have not replied. Again, thanks for all the help and love, Reddit. User The Night Terror said, not wasting her breath to formally break up with the bastard, but instead telling his parents why she wouldn't be coming for Thanksgiving. That is just beautiful. I hope all of the women involved are doing well now. User Mahal said, coaxing someone in a sexual context always sounds like coercion to me. I am glad it seems that OP and her roommate both knew it wasn't OP's fault in any way and reacted as best as they could to the situation. How much do we want to bet that the ex-boyfriend thought he was a real stud muffin and misinterpreted the polite roommate spending time with her friend's boyfriend as being into him? He probably took his shot when he thought they would both be interested in betraying OP for sex. User Beach Polini said, it's kind of a bummer that they decided not to stick together as roommates after that, but it's understandable. I also feel for Michelle as she was worried about this becoming a potential backlash for her career. She wasn't wrong, it very well could have. May the ex reap every consequence imaginable that life will hand him, even if the law won't. This next post was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, I gave flowers to my husband today and his reaction made me realize I might be a bad wife. Recently, my friends made fun of me, saying that my husband is the romantic one in our relationship. Apparently, he wins by a big margin in that department. They even scoffed at the idea that I could be romantic at all. This made me start to feel self-conscious about it, especially as one of my friends went into detail about how much more romantic he is compared to all my friends' husbands and how I am the total opposite. This has been on my mind all week, and today a male co-worker was talking about how his wife gave him flowers and how he was surprisingly happy about it. I thought, well, why not? He buys me flowers all the time, I should start being more romantic. After work, I went to pick up a bouquet and headed home. When I arrived, he was playing with our daughter and I gave him the bouquet, saying, I was thinking about you and got you this. He started crying. He cried so much. He thanked me, hugged me, and then went to look for a vase to put the flowers in. Throughout the night, he cried randomly 2 separate times. I asked him if anything else had happened to make him feel it that way, and he said no. He was just happy that I got him flowers and was feeling a bit emotional. Now I'm here thinking, am I a terrible wife? He gets me flowers all the time, and I never get emotional like that, not even close. I'm reflecting on how I don't do nearly as much for him compared to what he does for me in every way, and my friends are 100% right. Romantically, he kicks my ass. I feel absolutely terrible because I love him more than anything. He is my world, and I can't even imagine myself without him. He is an amazing husband, an even better father, and most importantly, he is my best friend. But I guess I don't show him how much I appreciate him, and he doesn't know how much I love him, and that makes me so sad. Then that makes me feel even worse because I'm thinking of myself instead of him. Now I'm here in bed. I can't sleep thinking about this. I don't know if I should talk to him about it or if I should quietly try to be better and show him how much I appreciate him. User Ma Frogs said, there is something to be said for knowing your partner's love language. I had been married for over a decade when we were introduced to the quiz and it was eye-opening. All my previous efforts to express my love were things that I would have wanted rather than what meant love to him. Those little romantic gestures are things that I simply don't think to do. Why would I? But now that I know he appreciates small gifts and expressions of love and appreciation, I'm much more likely to do that. User Friendly Quiet said, being taken for granted is something that men often expect in life. The fact that the flowers affected him so deeply just shows how much you have taken him for granted. Now that you know, you can make amends. Just be careful not to love bomb him or he may think you are overcompensating for something, which will dull the effect of the gestures of gratitude you make. This next post was made in the same subreddit by a user named BadBFA. The post is called "I'm ghosting my girlfriend and I don't care if I'm wrong for it anymore. I'm just done. It's stupid, it's dumb, it's a bad reason, but I cannot take it anymore. My blood pressure has legitimately been spiking over this recently and I cannot keep this up. I just can't do it. We've been together for close to a year and this problem has only come up over the past 2 months. She never did this when we first got together and I don't know why she started, but I'm so sick of it. It's crazy. Whenever we get food, she always eats off my plate, no matter what it is or where we are. The only thing that stops her is if I order the same exact thing as her and she's taken to ordering things that I cannot eat, so I can't do that. If I tell her to stop in the moment, she just laughs, and when I talk to her about it privately, she blows me off because it isn't a big deal, but it is to me, god damn it. I have a history of food insecurity, which makes it a lot worse, and I've tried to explain that. But then she snaps that I'm being condescending, and I just can't. Most recently, she had a plate full of her pizza on the table and had eaten over half of my medium pepperoni. I was so pissed that I just grabbed 2 slices off her plate without asking, which made her go into shock for a moment before screaming and acting like I had slapped her in the face or something, spitting and turning red in the face. You don't even like olives, you asshole. You always have to be right about everything, you dick. You can't just let me have this one thing. As if I had been the one consistently stealing from her for months. I just went cold, tossed the pizza back on her plate, not at her as she was in my face screaming and a ways away from the plate, and then I just left the apartment. She claims there was no reason to get violent over text, and I knew then that I was done. I've never raised a hand or my voice to her, and lightly tossing pizza on a plate across the room while she screams into my face is considered violent. Nah, I'm getting away from her. She's now tried to apologize, but I'm not going near her again or answering any messages or calls from her. God only knows if she'll decide to call the cops and have me arrested for my violent behavior, and I'm not chancing it. If I'm so awful and violent, she can get away from me and be safe while stealing constantly from other people. I know ghosting is wrong, I've been through it before, but after that incident, I don't know if I trust myself to speak to her cordially again. I want to scream and curse back, but that isn't who I am and not how I was raised. I don't like the person she's turned into, and I hate the person she's turning me into. User Schmo said, she gets her kicks from passive-aggressive behavior and it's bullying too. Lose her. To this comment, user Cosmo Humanist said, it's abuse, and it gets worse over time. I was trapped in a relationship with a woman similar to this. It wasn't about sharing food, but she used this technique in other ways. Over the course of 3 years, it evolved into a form of Stockholm Syndrome in which she gaslighted me, then verbally abused me, and finally physically abused me until I left. User Madame Waste said, honestly, this is a perfectly logical reason to go no contact with someone. You're too focused on this whole ghosting culture nonsense. When someone becomes a threat to your livelihood, it's not only acceptable, but also advisable to cut all contact with them, regardless of their relationship to you as a person. You're not ghosting your girlfriend. You're going no contact with a potential legal liability. You don't owe anyone an explanation. User Sam Preblu said, people need to realize this is how abuse starts. She ignores your comfort and your boundaries and doesn't care if you suffer as long as she gets enjoyment out of it. She plans how to inconvenience you by getting something that might hurt you. It's all just a scheme to see how far she can go before doing even worse. That text about being violent wasn't because she thought you throwing a slice of pizza was an act of violence. It was because she was starting the gaslighting, maybe even trying to get you to admit to something you didn't do. She probably wanted to escalate the situation so you would eventually do something she could spin in her favor. Abuse doesn't start with a punch to the face, it starts with a not so gently shove. Stay away from her. She deserves to be alone and you must care for yourself first. I'm proud of you for walking out of that. If you have any friends in common, tell them immediately that you broke up and why, don't sugarcoat it. She sounds exactly like the kind of person who will make up stories to make you look bad. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersubs. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.